Okay.
We're breaking down how a regional crisis went from 0 to 100, exploding into a multi-front war in what felt like the blink of an eye. So, let's get right into how this all happened.
You know, a travel vlogger said this not too long ago about Bahrain, and for a lot of people, that's what it is. This small island nation, this hidden gem known for its stunning beauty, its World Heritage sites, its whole vibe built on culture and trade. It's literally been called the Middle East's best-kept secret.
But then, on the morning of February 28, 2026, you get this. A resident in that exact same country, waking up not to a peaceful morning, but to the sound of war. A paradise shattered. So, what on earth just happened?
Well, to really get a grip on this, you first have to understand that there are two Bahrains, two completely different realities, living right on top of each other on one tiny island.
And this contrast, it's everything. On one side, you have the tourist paradise, the luxury destination. But on the other side, it's a critical, absolutely vital piece of American military power in the Persian Gulf. We're talking about the home of the US Navy's Fifth Fleet, a strategic hub since way back in the 40s.
That delicate balance between these two worlds, it was just completely obliterated by a massive pre-dawn military strike that seemed to come out of nowhere.
The US gave it a name, Operation Epic Fury, a huge combat operation targeting Iran, and it was launched at the same time as an Israeli campaign they called Roaring Lion.
And the goal? Well, the US president made it crystal clear. This wasn't some surgical strike or a warning shot. This was an all-out operation with a very blunt, very direct objective. And you can just see the sheer scale of what they were trying to do here. The official goals weren't just about the nuclear issue. They were aiming to dismantle Iran's missile industry and, get this, basically annihilate its navy. This was a direct shot at the heart of Iran's military power.
So how did Iran respond? Well, their retaliation was faster, bigger, and way more aggressive than a lot of people were expecting. They didn't just take the hit, they came back swinging hard.
I mean, within hours, the skies were filled with Iranian missiles and drones. And here's the crucial part. They weren't just firing back at Israel. No, they widened the battlefield dramatically, basically declaring open season on all American military assets across the entire Middle East. And then they did something pretty much unheard of. Iran put out a public warning, telling its own people to get out of 5 specific countries: Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, and Jordan. They were literally telegraphing their punches, telling the whole world, this is where we're hitting next.
Which of course brings us right back to Bahrain. Back to that little island where the world of tourism and the world of military strategy were about to have a very, very violent head-on collision.
The whole situation on the island just spiraled with terrifying speed. It starts with people reporting these loud bangs, these weird vibrations. A little later, air raid sirens are wailing across the capital. Then the government orders everybody to shelter in place. And then, you see it. Smoke just pouring into the sky from the Juffair district, right where the US Naval base is.
This quote from an Indian expat who was right there, it just captures the absolute terror of that moment. He's watching the base get hit again and again, seeing this thick black smoke just choking the sky. It's a visceral, right-on-the-ground view of the chaos.
And pretty soon the official confirmation came through. Iran had done it. They had successfully hit a major American military headquarters. The war wasn't just near Bahrain, it was in Bahrain.
But Bahrain was just the first domino to fall. In a cascade of events, the fire just started spreading across the whole Middle East, turning the entire region into a live combat zone.
And then, all of a sudden, it was everywhere. Reports just flooded in. The US base in Qatar, targeted. Explosions rocking Abu Dhabi. Missile impacts confirmed in Saudi Arabia. Kuwait shuts its airspace. Jordan is intercepting ballistic missiles. And all this time, Israeli cities are still getting hit. The war wasn't contained. It was everywhere.
And the impact on regular people was immediate and huge. With missiles flying, countries just started shutting down their airspace one after another. Flights were grounded, turned around. It paralyzed the entire region, stranding thousands of travelers. Because beyond all the military targets and the strategy, this war, escalating at lightning speed, trapped millions and millions of civilians right in the middle of it.
And here's why this is such a massive global story. Just look at this number. Over 3 million,
That's how many Indian expats are in the UAE alone. Now add the millions more from all over the world working in the exact countries that just became a battlefield. This isn't just a regional fight. It is an international crisis with an enormous human cost.
You saw governments just scrambling to react. U.S. embassies yelling, "shelter in place," the Bahraini government moving fast, evacuating people from the attack zones, getting them to safety in places like schools, and countries like India were rushing to get emergency hotlines up and running for their terrified citizens.
So let's just recap what we've seen. A massive, coordinated U.S.-Israeli strike on Iran kicks off an immediate, ferocious, and widespread retaliation, and that retaliation transforms a region of tourism and tension into a full-blown multi-front war zone in less than a single day.
And that leaves us with a really chilling question, In this new era of conflict, the front line isn't some line on a map anymore. As an entire region holds its breath, you have to ask, what is the real cost when the war can show up on anyone's doorstep, anywhere, at any time? Thanks for watching.